A new season, a home crowd, a fresh start. Love Nebraska opens its 2026 home schedule on Sunday, January 11th at Baxter Arena, hosting Love Houston in the home opener. First serve is set for 3 p.m., and the excitement starts the moment the doors open. Don't miss the chance to see elite professional volleyball featuring Olympians, All-Americans, national champions, and more as the season officially gets underway. It's opening night, Nebraska. Be there. Get tickets now at lovneb.com/tickets.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
January is your reset button. This January 10th, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping in Lincoln is kicking off our 10-week challenge. We combine high-energy kickboxing, powerful strength training, and simple, proven nutrition to deliver real results in just 10 weeks. For a limited time, get $150 off when you enroll today. No gimmicks, just coaching, accountability, and a community that pushes you to win. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Visit fxblincoln.com and start your strongest year yet at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. 2 locations, South 40th and Yankee Hill, North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, changing lives 10 weeks at a time.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Downtown Lincoln Foundation. Here is your host, Derek Pearson.
How about a one-on-one boom here to start your Thursday afternoon? A little bit of a rainy day here in Lincoln, Nebraska, but still a good day if you're a college football fan because we've got the Fiesta Bowl coming up, Ole Miss and Miami. So that should be exciting for a chance to punch their ticket to the national championship game. We had a listener bring in some helmets, which is very cool. 2 of the best. Austin Orman joining me so far. We'll have Nick Sainert, by the way, in the studio. Yes, I'm Jake Balkovin. Nick will join us in the second segment. This is kind of a beautiful helmet combination, I believe, Miami and in Ole Miss. Of course, there's a history of a rivalry with Miami, but it is pretty cool. They get to throw up the U, the orange and green. There's not many teams that have that. And then the Ole Miss kind of has corrected their ways, like many teams. They see that the darker blue shade of that kind of became popular in the early 2000s. Throw that to the side. Get back to that light blue they've been wearing once again. And so I think it's a beautiful helmet collision that we'll see tonight.
So it's not a traditional helmet game, right? You think, like a Miami USC or like a Miami Ohio State in the last matchup. But yeah, it's not bad. I'm not going to lie. I still think of Ole Miss in more the navy than the lighter baby blue. But what we need to acknowledge is that it's good that Ole Miss is good and interesting, because how many other schools claim a land shark as one of their mascots, right? Like a land shark? Are you kidding me? What does that even mean? What's a land shark? You may know what a water shark is, great white shark and hammerhead sharks and tiger sharks, whatever. Like land shark, man. Fire me up, Ole Miss. I will say I still think of, Ole Miss and Mississippi State being in the first initial, top 4 of the college football playoff ranking.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Think about that area. The state of Mississippi was running college football for about 3 weeks until neither of them ended up making the initial 4-team playoff. But The baby-ish blues, the Skyer blues for Ole Miss have definitely grown on me.
I love it. I think it's beautiful. But again, I think this is happening across sports. Like the Chargers, it was a thing. It was like the early 2000s. The baby blue almost seemed like, well, that looks like an 80s or 70s color or whatever. Let's, all except for North Carolina or the teams that that was part of their identity or part of their primary colors. Mm-hmm. Made the switch, and now you see the Royals do it. I mean, everybody, when they go back to that baby blue look, they sell jerseys, right?
It's nostalgic, and that kind of touched a nerve with me. I don't mind the Royals powder blues. Not my favorite thing. It's a little too Carolina adjacent for me, but I get right. Like that was the thing back in the day. And you got to pick at that nostalgia bone every so often. You got to scratch that nostalgia itch, and I get it. I don't mind the powder blue tops. I'm not a fan of the full powder blues. The new powder hats and the powder pants were not my favorite. And that got me in trouble with like my dad who grew up. Those are the Royals. That's what they were wearing the whole time. And, you can do better than just like plain royal blue and white, right? You're not the Dodgers. You need a little bit of something to spice it up, I guess. Fine. I don't mind the powder blue accents. I didn't like the navy and light blue City Connects that they had there for a while, but those have grown on me. I got a little hoodie shirt that I like to wear. So it's not bad. My favorite, though, I mean, you always associate it with winning, was the year after the Royals won the World Series. They get the home whites with the royal blue, but they get the gold trim. The gold trim around and the letters on the chest and also the initials on the caps as well. And it's reserved for the team that just won the World Series the year before, so you can't always do it. But I wish the Royals could find a way to kind of skirt around that and not just have those two primary colors, the home whites, the road blues, and maybe the gray alternates. Man, fire some gold trim in there. Like, you're the Royals. Yes. It's regal. Come on, find a way to sneak some hints of gold in there a little bit more.
I completely agree. It's on their logo, right? I mean, so it's there. And it is something. I mean, if you just used it as an accent color, it pops quite a bit, and it really helps. You can throw it in with any color combination, but especially blue or light blue and white. It's seamless transition.
You can't do like full golds. That just ends up looking funky. Maybe the Vegas Knights can pull it off, but I don't think the Royals could ever go full gold. And to be completely honest, I'm very biased in that direction. I just told you, obviously the Royals, but going to Lincoln Lutheran, it was blue and yellow, and then they made a switch to navy and Vegas gold. Like, okay, that's pretty sick. I like that. I've always had this weird affinity for Marquette, which is, I don't know where that came from, because I wasn't a D Wade guy. So Marquette was good. They were fun to watch every so often. They were beating Creighton in the Big East, so I guess that's maybe where part of it came from too. But again, there's blue, there's white, yellow, some kind of powder blue accents that they'll mix in from time to time. Creighton tried to pull off the Duke thing when they went with their navies that they wore against Nebraska.
That was so hideous.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
That matchup needs to be red versus blue every year.
Yeah.
But Creighton, you're not Duke. I didn't love when Duke did it. Those have kind of grown on me too. I don't mind a navy anymore. I think Duke pulled it off. I don't think Creighton did quite as well. I think they tried a little bit too hard. I think you can add navy, but I see most people's point where if you go to like the Ole Miss style lighter blue, that's probably going to pop for more people.
Yeah. So I think it is an aesthetically pleasing matchup tonight as we see it out there. And then, as we've been talking, just the rise of baby blue over the last several years made its way back into it, and I think it looks fantastic. So, that's kind of funny. That's kind of circular too, in life. It's kind of funny too, because when I was younger, the styles of the 90s, I grew up in the 90s, kind of early 2000s, somewhat cringy now at times, but, they were, I was told then, like, okay, this, styles are circular. Some of this, 70s, 80s stuff will come back. And I'm like, no, there's no way. And then you get far enough away from the 90s, you're like, that's never going to come back either. And now it's, that's kind of the fad. So it's kind of funny to see how that happens. And after all, the older generation, the parents were right. Styles will go around and come around. Also, what will go around and come around, it seems like college football players in the transfer portal. The latest news there is Kenneth Williams entering the transfer portal. Very interesting. Obviously, a great story from walk-on to scholarship. From walk-on, quite frankly, to all conference as a kick returner. And always kind of a thought back there in the back of basically everybody's mind of, well, what do you look like as a running back? Because he definitely has the speed to burn there. And it is, obviously we've seen some guys jump into the portal and come back this year already, and Braylon Pruitt and Larry Tarver. So potential for that to happen. But for a team that doesn't have a whole lot of pop or big play ability, I mean, this is actually a bigger loss than what people maybe are making it out to be, at least for me, right? Now, maybe it only affects 2 or 3 plays a year, 3 or 4 plays a year as far as big-time game-changing swings. But again, Nebraska just didn't have a whole lot of players that were capable of doing that. So, it is one where I think people will just kind of say, okay, special teams player, not the biggest hit for Nebraska. But, really, I can't. What game did he have the big moment against where he kind of turned the second half?
Well, he had the long kick return against Maryland.
Yeah.
They got that one off and running. And then the kickoff return, who did that one? Was that Northwestern it came against?
Yeah, it seems like it. I'll look it up to double check. But yeah, it's so, I mean, I think this is a rather big loss. Again, not necessarily a guy that you projected to get too many minutes out of the backfield, but, all conference players and all conference player.
And Nebraska hasn't had many of them. And
right.
A second team on special teams. So that's still, to your point, more than Nebraska has had. A guy that the staff always talked up, a guy the staff always liked. I think it's unfortunate, but if you can't find another kick returner, isn't that a bigger indictment? Local kid, you get the Lincoln High connection, and sure, you'd like to keep him around. But if this is a young man that thinks he can do more than just return kicks, I mean, he never, maybe once, saw the field as an actual running back that he was recruited to be. If he thinks he's developed enough to the level that he can play the running back position in college football, I don't blame him. I think he was still, pretty far down the depth chart, probably 4th in terms of the guys whose names you bring up behind Nelson, Mosey, and still Quentin Ives for the time being. So if that's what it's about, so be it. Best of luck to you, young man. Go get it. Well, then Nebraska's got to find someone else to put back there, which you wouldn't think would be that hard. Should it be that hard to find a kick returner? Like, did it take, was it Mike Eckler that made Kenneth Williams good? Or was it just, hey, Nebraska has Kenneth Williams. Look at him. He can return kicks now. He's just a natural. He's a savant at returning kicks. I mean, he wasn't Devin Hester back there. He was good, right, but he wasn't, like you said, once every few games, he would do something to give you a little spark, and you have the moment with the kickoff return. And that's not to minimize what he did, but I'm sorry, if you can't find another person who can return the ball to the 30 sometimes, that's on you.
Well, I mean, they're going to hope to get a guy to bring it to the 30, right? But it's those big plays, the big play possibility that we kind of mentioned there. And again, it was just maybe a few plays here and there throughout the season. Like you said, it kind of had that 85-yarder early in the season against Maryland. That was a big play in that game. Of course, these are both the Maryland and the Northwestern game, which he impacted Nebraska. Those are single possession victory, right? Yeah. Which Nebraska's really struggled with over the years, as we know. Did return that opening kickoff the second half, 95 yards against Northwestern to get that going. Here's the thing, and as we know, Nebraska's special teams have been bad, particularly since that date, but Nebraska's first kickoff return for a touchdown since 2017. Again, that's directly in line with Scott Frost, who kind of threw special teams aside and didn't care too much for him. So, maybe there is that. But, to me, again, it is one thing to be able to get a guy, like you said, to consistently kind of return punts and, or kicks, excuse me. And the other thing is you got to give a lot of credit to Mike Eckler and everybody else on the field, because if you can kind of draw it up, and I think that was part of it, and get a lane for him, then, hopefully you've got somebody with enough speed back there to make a difference. So, I'm not here to say that this is the biggest loss of the portal, but for a team that doesn't have a whole lot of big-time play ability, or at least didn't show that off this year, he showed that he could swing you some games. I mean, if without those 2 touchdowns, maybe you don't make it to the bowl destination that you wanted to. So, I mean, we'll see. But we were talking about it too. I think part of that, as far as like the big play impact and all that stuff, listen, Anthony Calandria is that type of guy. It might be a big play for the other team at times,
but a big play nonetheless.
But I think that's going to be the most interesting thing as we kind of transition from that to the quarterback. And I haven't had a chance to talk with you too much about it. Is Nebraska, the team, and obviously Dana Holgorsen, the offense, kind of went through a transition where earlier in the year they were kind of relying more on the passing game. We know they kind of eventually kind of found themselves with Emmett Johnson there, especially after Dylan Raiola went out. But whether it was Dylan or TJ Lateef starting, I mean, they did a good job of avoiding turnovers, and they have done that since the first year, where that was the big bugaboo, right? For Nebraska. But they didn't, it wasn't all just because they were just pretty risk averse in their play calling and their shots downfield, I guess is what I'm leading to. I don't think that's going to be the case with this quarterback. So I'm not to say that he's got a huge arm that he's going to chuck it down the field, but he's somewhat of a gunslinger. I mean, he'll take those risks, and Nebraska's going to kind of have to live with them. So a lot more big play potential, maybe, with just the changing quarterback there.
Are you saying Tommy Armstrong is back?
I think something around that line, and that's what I think Nebraska kind of needs. As I kind of looked at, especially Utah and Devon Dampier, is what he would have injected into a Nebraska offense. And I hope that you're going to get the same thing, the same level of rise. Obviously, that's the hope with Calandria coming in, and he can obviously tune out a lot of those interceptions and the mistake-prone stuff. That is what happened with Dampier. I mean, he had 12 touchdowns, 12 picks last year before coming to Utah, and then of course had this magnificent season. And of course, Nebraska made him look better than almost everybody else does. But he was, I mean, early on in the season, he was in the Heisman talk. So I and that's when I sit back and look at it and think about Calandria versus TJ Lateef, or even TJ Lateef with Minchie, and I think the hope was to get Minchie a little bit more playmaking ability out there, right? But we haven't seen enough of it yet. Is that this offense is changing a little bit from being rather risk averse to we need some pop to this offense. And so, I mean, I don't know how you feel about how the quarterback, kind of the Minchie, all the thing together, but I feel like Nebraska landed where I wanted them to land from the beginning, which is, and it's funny that you bring up Tommy Armstrong. Again, you might not be in a position to go out there and get the Sam Levitts, the Brennan Sorsbys, but find a gamer, find a guy that's at least gonna give you a chance, sometime gonna cause you some headaches, but is gonna go out there and play some ball.
First of all, shout out my buddy Nick, who texts me directly. So some say that Tommy Armstrong is the best quarterback in Nebraska history. I don't know who's saying that. Nick, I hope it's not you. I respect you too much to believe that you're the one saying that. I like Tommy, and I think he's gone probably underappreciated as the years have gone on. A lot of the complaining in the moment of, well, he's just chucking it downfield. Where's he throwing it? Or, look at all these interceptions that he threw. No, Tommy's a gamer.
Yeah,
I think that's the perfect description of him. Won Nebraska a lot of games. Maybe lost him one or two here or there, but I don't think Tommy was the biggest issue with those Bo Pelini teams.
No.
I'm a Tommy Armstrong guy. I'm a Tommy Armstrong fan. Grew up on Tommy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But guess what? He was supported by a good running game as well. Tommy had some dudes he could hand the ball off to, especially as he was growing into his own as a quarterback. In terms of the style, right, the gunslinger gamer kind of style, okay, Nebraska defense, here's your challenge. If Nebraska's offense is going to give it away a few more times, you better take it away a few more times. You better be ready for those sudden change scenarios. Difficult to ask a year one defense to do unless it's not. Unless Nebraska's brought in playmakers at the second level, unless Andrew Marshall takes a leap forward as CB1 now for Nebraska. I don't love it. I don't hate it. There's a lot of different ways to build a winner, but at the end of the day, Bach, Nebraska's offense needs more possessions than its defense has to face. That's how good teams get good, is that they have the ball more often than other teams. Maybe it's time of possession. I think that's less important, more so than the number of times you're actually able to go down and score. The more times you have the ball, the more possessions you have the ball, the more opportunities you have to score. And that's the name of the game for an offense. So someone like Calandria, who's going to push the envelope, it might be good for Nebraska, because how many times have we seen Nebraska quarterbacks, not just over the last 2 years, but the last 5, 6, 7 years, have windows to throw, but either not have their eyes in the right spot or not be willing to pull the trigger because they don't believe in the guy they're throwing to. They don't believe in their arm. It's not a perfect platform, whatever it is. Say what you will about Calandria, he'll let that thing rip. He'll take off and run for it. He's pretty fearless. He thinks he can make the first down and more every time. There's a line there. It's one of those things, right, that makes players like this special. It is not that they rein it in, it's that they let it rip. In a lot of cases, there will be plenty of exciting moments. There will be some rabbits out of a hat. There will be some real head scratchers. What were you seeing? How do you possibly think you could get that through? Who do you think you are sort of moments? You hope that it tips the positive way for Nebraska, and that the risk does indeed become worth the reward, because I think Nebraska has been missing a little bit of that. But then here's the flip side, Bach. Anthony Calandria can't be Superman, right? How many times did it feel like Tommy Armstrong went full Superman to his detriment? Adrian Martinez after him. Casey Thompson, less so. Maybe that was due to injuries. But, I mean, especially Adrian Martinez, sometimes Dylan Raiola through the air. I don't want Nebraska's quarterback to feel like they have to do it alone. It's great to get those big splash plays, those exciting plays. How did he do that? But if it comes at the expense of consistency in the pocket, and if it comes at the expense of, 3 turnovers for every one big play like that, that's not worth it. It just can't be worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I do fear that might be where Nebraska's offense is that they needed a Superman, right? Because you lose Emmett Johnson. Obviously, they're piecing together an offensive line that I think is going to be rather respectable, but that was a big problem, especially early on with your pocket quarterbacks last year. But this is, again, I opened up the segment talking about stuff that was cyclical. Back when Tommy Armstrong was around, I remember, Tom Stevens, former co-host of mine, that was one of his big things is kind of year after year. It's like they need a quarterback that doesn't have to do it all. And I think Nebraska's probably back in that position. And again, this is, obviously prognosticating, but part of this is looking at where Nebraska's season finished off last year, and a lot of blame goes on the defense, and well, it should. I mean, 40 points plus given up in the final 2 games, 37 obviously or more in the final 3 games. But on the opposite side, they weren't scoring a whole lot of points either. And so,
Right.
That's where it's so interesting. And again, we got a long off season. We'll get to the Kool-Aid. We'll get all into it and all that stuff. But
It's been 8 days since the bowl game, Bach.
Right.
8 days. Is the offseason over yet?
Are
we there yet?
I mean, we're still working on building the team, right? So you can't come in and say, okay, this is how they're going to do. I predict this and that. I mean, we got to see how this all plays out. But the point is, from where Nebraska left off, what are their strengths? When you talk about, okay, the defense is going to have to step up, I'm sitting back and thinking, was the offense or the defense the strength of the team? Got to tell you, I don't see a strength at this point. We'll see if one can kind of step up. But especially with losing Emmett Johnson, kind of the key to the whole, not just the key, but basically all the production on your offense, it's somewhat of a blank slate heading into next year about who's going to be the strength of the team. And so
Tight end, Buck, come on.
Well, I get it. But again, that leads me to, I think they needed to go find somebody out there that had it within them to become the Superman, at least to spark something going here. And that's why, when I look at TJ Lateef, and I think he's on a fine trajectory, and he's a freshman. I can't wait to see what he does down the line, hopefully in the Scarlet and Cream. And I think it's great if you can keep him and Calandria in the same room, obviously. All that sort of stuff, great for depth, great for if Calandria gets a little turnover prone, all that sort of stuff. But I don't know if you have that Superman type of lift from TJ Lateef, at least this point in his career.
No, I completely agree. And I think what you're saying is certainly defensible. It might be semantics, might just be framing, but hey, we're on Sports Talk Radio, so that's what we're here to discuss. When I think Superman, you get too many flashbacks to Adrian Martinez having to do everything he can to drag Nebraska into games and wearing down late. That became a problem for him and for Nebraska, and the way we think about it, a good player, but certainly not a perfect player. I think that Nebraska needs a guy with the ability to go Superman in those key moments, but doesn't have to get asked to do that 10 possessions a game, right? If there are other guys alongside the quarterback who can help keep that guy on schedule to where, it's not saving legs, it's not keeping him fresh, right? You're a college football player, find a way to make plays at the end of games, but to not have to tap into that magic every so often, right? It's just such a risky way to make a living. Where I 100% agree with you is that Nebraska's needed better talent at the quarterback position. Thought you had it in Dylan Raiola, saw it in flashes, wasn't there consistently, right? TJ Lateef might blossom into that, right? Nebraska needs better at pretty much every position across the board. I'm with you. It's hard to point out a discernible strength on the team without your tongue firmly planted in your cheek. So, yeah, I agree. Nebraska does, if you're saying that Nebraska needs to be better at quarterback, I can agree. Nebraska, I think, needs to find a quarterback that, sure, is better for 60 minutes, but is steady for the first 40, 50, 55 minutes. And then in those final 5 minutes, and you need Superman, you need him to put the ball on time, on target, you need him to drop it into a bucket. That's where I think Gamer comes into play, right? Tommy wasn't perfect against Oregon and still the most recent ranked win for Nebraska football.
Yeah.
But guess what? Cramping and all, gimpy hammy and all, he found a way to get to the freaking end zone. I'm still in some level of awe about how he was able to do that late in the game, But that's the thing. He wasn't perfect, but he kept Nebraska in the game. You would say maybe he kept the opponent in the game as well. But okay, fine. You can make that argument. But I don't want to see Nebraska have to rely on its quarterback for its sole source of offense like it did toward the end of Frost and early in the Rule tenure. I just don't think that's sustainable.
I don't think it is either. I just don't think they have much of a choice right now. I mean, I think you had to find something that's going to spark it. And again, what can you do? I mean, can a guy that scrambles around a little bit more and provide that threat, maybe give, a Ja'Cory Barney, if, all these guys, we presume, if they're coming back, and Isaiah Hunter, I think you're pretty good. When you talk about a strength on the team, I think you've at least got some guys that you can trust in there. Could that kind of open them up and allow you to kind of rely on those guys a little bit more? Certainly could. So, again, it's not all doomsday scenario. Nebraska's, doesn't have anything going for it. But again, as of right now, I think if you would have, brought in or just continued with TJ Lateef, I just don't know how much more, spark or could be expected out of it. So I'm glad they landed on Calandria. I said it from the beginning. I thought they needed to go out there and get a veteran quarterback. Some of the quarterbacks that they were looking on wouldn't have excited me quite as much. Certainly down to the Final Four that were reported out there, post the Kenny Minchie betrayal, if you want to call it that. I think Calandria was the best pick of them all. So, I think it's a pretty good spot to be in, and it makes me more confident. Now, Minchie might end up being the better quarterback. I mean, we'll see. He's still a lot to prove.
He's got better coaching right now.
Yeah, you could argue that for sure. But at least for what Nebraska needed in this year, I think this was about as good as you're going to get with where Nebraska stands in the portal. And again, he might not be the highest ranked guy, but you go back to Casey Thompson, you might have whatever feelings you have about Casey Thompson. The guy got absolutely destroyed behind that offensive line. And we saw at times, especially, Trey Palmer helps, but when he was able to be protected, you could get something a little bit more. And he wasn't mobile, and I'm not completely comparing the two, but just saying that, Calandria might not be the biggest splash, and it's not going to bolster Nebraska into the top 25, but I think it's what they needed, even more so than Kenny Minchie. So I'm happy where they landed.
Yeah, I still would have preferred a multi-year guy. I really would have. More on TJ Lateef's timeline, so we could have had true competition. I can understand why Minchie wouldn't want that, and that seems like that was a factor in him going to Kentucky. I think Calandria is the better player, but I think even if I think Calandria is the better player, I think philosophically and for the direction of the program, I would have preferred a DJ Lagway type with multiple years and potential that's got to earn it in a battle. So I think Nebraska ended up getting the better player. I'm not sure it's the best direction for them for anything other than this year.
Yeah, well, and then that's what it is. It's a tough sign of the times, right? You're basically renting a quarterback there. But again, for the pro, in my mind, and again, I can see that point of view too. But if you bring in a guy that doesn't elevate, like maybe Minchie's similar to TJ Lateef, right? You're not getting really much more out of it. Then you're just kind of stuck, right? And then my big thing here is,
but either way, you're potentially stuck because either you have a solution for this year, not for next year, or you maybe have a solution for 2 years.
Well, you're hoping
maybe
you're hoping TJ Lateef takes this year to be your solution for the years.
Hopefully.
But my thing is in year 4, coming off the losses that they had at the end of the season, I know he signed an extension. This is an important year. If he doesn't make a bowl game, I mean, where are you sitting? So that's why I think this year you need to. I think they have to go all in on this year, and I think that's what they did. Although kind of in a backdoor sense here.
Well, here's the other part of this too. Think about the quarterbacks that Matt Rule brings up a lot from his previous stops. PJ Walker started him as a freshman, and Charlie Brewer started him as a freshman. If Matt Rule had Dylan Raiola in year 1, going into year 4, maybe Dylan's a senior. You like where Nebraska's at with that. Or, okay, Nebraska has to pivot. Okay, they get Dylan Raiola. What if Nebraska took its, starter for this year in Matt Rule's initial class? When he first got there, he got this under-the-radar guy that he developed. Hey, here's a redshirt junior entering his 4th year in college in year 4 under Matt Rule. He's got 2 years to start. He's probably not got the best pro prospects, but he can be a good college player. Nebraska didn't do that.
No.
You didn't go the PJ Walker route. You didn't go the Charlie Brewer route. You didn't have your developmental guy on the roster to begin with. It took you 2 years to get that guy here. Yeah. And now you're reaping the benefits or lack thereof.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also along that line, Jason, Casey Thompson out of town, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, the first year handling of the quarterback room is well documented. Not the best format rule, but add that into the complaints is not getting somebody kind of long term to develop there. I completely agree. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break here on One-on-One. Nick Sainert will jump back in studio with us. We'll have a little bit of Fiesta Bowl trivia. It is, after all, a bowl game Husker fans remember fondly. So we'll be back with more of that coming up next.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to start strong, so you can give everything you've got. From plate-loaded strength equipment and functional training areas to treadmills, stair climbers, and free weights. Our equipment is best in class, and our clubs are right around the corner, so you can make this your strongest year yet. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, January 9th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
A new season, a home crowd, a fresh start. Love Nebraska opens its 2026 home schedule on Sunday, January 11th at Baxter Arena, hosting Love Houston in the home opener. First serve is set for 3 p.m., and the excitement starts the moment the doors open. Don't miss the chance to see elite professional volleyball featuring Olympians, All-Americans, national champions, and more as the season officially gets underway. It's opening night, Nebraska. Be there. Get tickets now at lovneb.com/tickets.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Husker Nation, conference play is here for Husker women's hoops, and we need your help. the Huskers had one of their best starts ever, completing non-conference play with a perfect 12-0 record. But Big Ten play will be a challenge, and they need to hear Husker Nation in the stands for every basket, steal, and each and every win. The road to March starts now, so don't wait. Head to Huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat for some unforgettable matchups in PBA. Go Big Red.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at nebraskadeerandgameexpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
Back to One-on-One with DP. Sponsored by the Downtown Lincoln Foundation on 93.7 The Ticket.
We are back here on One-on-One on 93.7 The Ticket. DP out of town, so myself, Jake Bakoven, in here with Austin Orman and Nick Sainert now joining us in the studio as well.
Boys,
Nick, welcome to the show. I also want to start off. How about the helmet matchup tonight? I know you already wore the yeah,
great.
Looks aesthetically very pleasing. I
think if we can get, I doubt that this will be the case because I would imagine Miami. Miami's
favored
seed.
by 3.
I knew that one, but Miami's the lower seed, so they're the road team, basically. So they might wear orange. So does that mean that we're going to get orange and powder blue?
Ooh.
That would be great.
Because we need that instead of the plain road whites.
That's what I was thinking, is initially Miami would wear white and Ole Miss would wear their powder blue. But I would love if it was a powder blue versus orange appearance. Fiesta Bowl tonight, so that means Arizona's the spot?
Yeah.
Okay. So indoor stadium.
Well, they should, and that kind of brings the point overall together back to, the NFL does that color rush game, once
but those
beautiful.
Uniforms are so bad.
Well, yeah, they do. They don't always do a great job of that, but I don't know why, maybe we should bring that more often to the front.
I know. How did you guys feel about, you guys like alternate uniforms, right?
Absolutely.
Generally.
We're under the age of 35. So
are you talking about Nebraska?
We do know how email works. So
yeah. So, I mean, but you guys, I don't know. It seems like that's kind of the cutoff for like alternate uniforms, fans of, not fans of.
I'm going to be in trouble next year. I'm 35.
That's rough.
Yeah. But I'm already.
I did not know this.
Oh, yeah. You're already
10 years older than I am?
Yeah. And I'm already, though, a traditionalist. I understand why you get to an age it was better back in my day. Like, I'm already there with college football. So I guess I'm ahead of schedule there. Guys, we do got to get, obviously, Nebraska has a history of the Fiesta Bowl. And what's better than talking about the past for Nebraska football? Do you guys have any idea how many times Nebraska's played in the Fiesta Bowl?
Is it like 6?
It is exactly like 6.
Nice.
Dang, so much like 6, it is 6.
Good
guess.
guess.
The most famous one was the most recent appearance, I presume.
Second most recent appearance.
They played in 97.
So they played the Fiesta Bowl
95 championship, 96.
Yep.
Fiesta Bowl.
Yep, 96. Yep.
And then in the year 2000, 1999 season, they played Tennessee there, and T. Martin defending champs and all that, and beat them there as well.
Yeah.
So, 2 victories. Out of the 6 games, how many victories do you think they had?
4.
3.
It's still 2.
Oh,
they lost.
no,
We can just keep on going down.
They lost their first 4. Their other ones were in the 1989 season, a 41-17 loss against number 5 Florida State. Nebraska was number 6 at the time. They also lost in the 1987 season, 1988 Fiesta Bowl. Another loss to Florida State, 31-28. Florida State was number 3 at the time. Nebraska was number 5. They lost in the 1985 season, 86 Fiesta Bowl, 27-23 to number 5 Michigan, when Nebraska was number 7. And they also lost in 1975 for the same season. The Fiesta Bowl that year was played in December 26th. 17-14 to number 7 Arizona State when Nebraska was number 6. So,
that's a true road game.
Yeah, that is tough. So Tom Osborne had a little bit of trouble with the Fiesta Bowl till he didn't, I suppose.
Couldn't win the big one.
Yeah, there you go. But of course, the famous ones, as we mentioned, Nebraska 62-24, January 2nd, 1996. That is still the record for most points scored in the Fiesta Bowl, by the way.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. And then, of course, in like we mentioned, 31-21 victory over Tennessee, has number 3 in the college football playoff era. That's the team a lot of people go back to in 1999. That team certainly might have won it all. If you remember, that was Michael Vick and Virginia Tech against Chris Winkie. Peter Warwick, those guys at Florida State. Florida State ended up winning, but certainly would have been an opportunity for Nebraska there. Most appearances in the Fiesta Bowl all time. You guys have a guess?
Would Miami be up there?
The
Fiesta Bowl.
Big Ten school.
I'm getting it mixed up with the Orange Bowl. Most in the Fiesta Bowl. It couldn't just be like Ohio State. Right?
It is just like Ohio State. You're pretty good.
Go.
Whenever you doubt yourself,
I'm full of doubt. I'm full of doubt.
That's slightly surprising to me because you think about the Big Ten going to the Rose Bowl,
right?
More often,
exactly.
But unless they know the Rose Bowl was, Big Ten 1 in the years Ohio State was Big Ten 2 or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm trying to even think. The last time Ohio State played in the Fiesta Bowl was 2016. That's the last time they won a bowl. They played it in 2019. So I think part of this is the college football playoff expanding and getting in those games and stuff.
Can we be honest that I hate that? I hate that they take on those classic bowl games.
I do too.
I would rather I'm fine if they keep the bowl game, but just transplant all the signage and whatnot to a home stadium.
Oh, really? But you can't play the Rose Bowl.
You can't play the Rose Bowl.
Okay,
in Indiana.
fine. The Rose Bowl gets its carve out, but you can't transport the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl to.
Yeah, you can.
Coral Gables.
Yeah, sure. But that's the Orange Bowl.
Okay. Well, then Ole Miss is the higher seed, so you can't transplant to Oxford.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you can.
Okay.
Yes.
But this is where Miami just needs to build its own college football stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Miami capable of that?
They should be.
They're going to get additional money here.
Yeah.
And that would take years, but
is Mario Cristobal a top 10 coach in college football right now?
Yeah.
Number 10.
I mean, seriously, because we never talk about Mario Cristobal in the same breath as we do Kalen DeBoer, Lane Kiffin, obviously, Kirby, and Ryan Day. We never talk about Mario Cristobal in the same breath.
He's one of those guys, when they do these lists every year, right, can be anywhere from like 10 to 30, depending on where your last year was.
He was not good. He was not good at FAU.
So it was FIU
or FIU. He was not good.
Okay, so it was 1-11, 5-7, 3-9, 7-6 with a bowl win, 8-5 with a bowl loss, then 3-9. Position coach takes over for one game for Oregon. He's the interim in the Las Vegas Bowl. Oregon under him was 9-4, 12-2, 4-3 in the COVID year, and then 10-3. Takes over a scuffling Miami, and he's increased the number of wins every year.
Yeah,
5-7, 7-6, 10-3, 12-2. Top 10 might be slightly aggressive, but I think he's a much better coach now than he was at Florida International. I think he's still taking a lot of grief for the end of that Georgia Tech game where he decided to run it instead of kneel down. So you have to question the game management, but that's one gaffe on his resume. I get he doesn't have the national championship, but who do you give more credit to? Do you give more credit to a guy like Mario Cristobal, who's built, or Ryan Day, who has a national championship and sustained, but continues to lose the Michigan game?
Or the big game,
Or the big game,
or that.
I don't know. Cristobal took over for Taggart, right? It was Willie Taggart before?
So
at Oregon.
At Oregon. It was Willie Taggart,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was
took over for Manny Diaz at Miami.
Yeah. Still shocking that Manny Diaz had a Miami job at one point.
Manny Diaz was not as bad as people give him credit for at Miami.
No,
he wasn't
no.
great.
No.
He was not terrible.
No, he was not terrible.
But it is, as you look at Cristobal, he's this year will exchange that. He's had one top 10 finish in his career again. So would it be hard to argue a top 10 coach, but definitely on a run here. And part of that is what they've done at the quarterback position. Obviously, the last 2 years with the Heisman Trophy winner and Cam Ward last year, and now Carson Beck leading them to this to where they are now as the 10th seed, which is pretty incredible.
And Carson Beck, let's be honest, he's fine.
Serviceable, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They paid a lot of money for a game manager that has 10 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, but how many of those came in like 2 games?
Yes. I don't know.
He's been better down the stretch.
I'm not high on Carson Beck.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, let's be fair to the guy.
He's a good college quarterback. That's why he's not going off to the NFL. Yeah,
that's true.
By the way, too, Mario Cristobal's conference record in the ACC so far, 18-14. So that certainly could improve. And that's what I'm a little bit worried about.
That's the thing. You take away Miami out of this playoff, we're not even talking about Mario Cristobal.
No. And I'm worried. I mean, if they go on a run, and again, this goes back to my traditionalist and the college football is better thing. But are we ready to crown a champion that lost to Louisville and at SMU? I mean, if it happens, is that are we still, is that still what we're looking for?
I'm with you on this, man. I miss the BCS.
See, there we go.
I love the playoff games. I love that they mean something. I'm excited for tonight. Which matchup are you guys more interested in?
Indiana, Oregon in a heartbeat.
Okay. Yeah. I am too.
Yeah. Well, it's Big Ten. I don't know if that's our bias or just
I don't think it is.
Big Ten's also won the last 2.
I think it's going to be a better game.
Yeah, that too. Intrigue. Obviously, Cignetti's the story.
What would be the most surprising matchup? Obviously, Oregon on that side. Is it Ole Miss?
Got to be, right?
I think so. But I'll say this. That's the matchup I want to see most.
Oregon and Ole Miss?
Maybe Indiana, Ole Miss. The matchup I'm going to change that. The matchup I want to see most is Indiana, Ole Miss. But I'm not that interested in seeing Miami in there.
Yeah, it's not. I think of all the teams that might have they're the 10 seeds, so there's something there. But yeah, I think it's probably the least.
But Miami's not really an underdog. Like, it's Miami.
And they've won titles before. The other teams haven't. So that definitely.
But I think the other part for me is like, in the national championship game, I want to see. No, I don't want to see fireworks. I'm not trying to see a 50-50 ball game.
Oh, sign me up for that.
But something about Ole Miss, Indiana, or Ole Miss, or what do they all have in common? They can score the football. They can score, man. But they also play really good defense, especially Indiana and Oregon. I think Oregon sometimes gets discredited because we think Oregon and flash and high-powered offenses. I think Oregon's defense is actually the better side of the ball.
Go ahead, Bach.
I just think I'm very intrigued. If Ole Miss can make it to the championship game or very much even take that further and win a championship, I just with all the ties to the SEC and this is their last hope and all that, and the conference is losing its power, and then the Lane Kiffin stuff, and you bring in LSU and Ole Miss next year. I'm incredibly interested in Ole Miss moving on. Again, but Miami, that's a team I'd love to hate. So if they start to, I don't necessarily hate them now because this is the run, right? But if they can kind of get back into that, I would love to see that for college football.
Right. Miami's kind of like the Dan Hurley in some ways, right? Like college football needs a villain.
Yeah.
Are they?
Well, they can be. They can be. They can grow back into it because as soon as they win one, imagine the conversations out of South Beach. But I think as Nebraska fans shouldn't, as much as we love to hate Miami for all the pain they inflicted, shouldn't Nebraska fans be rooting for Miami to prove that, hey, it's possible for a former power to build up again? I know that Miami has the access to talent. I know they're in a lesser conference. I get it. No, it's not. It's not a 1-to-1, but just big picture, 30,000 foot. Like Indiana and even Ole Miss, no historical success. Ole Miss more than Indiana, but Indiana was the losingest program in college football history. Now passed by in-state quasi-rival Northwestern. Since Cignetti's been on a bit of a tear, but I'm not mad if Miami beats Ole Miss. I'm not mad if Ole Miss beats Miami. I think there's a fun storyline either way. I would probably rather see Ole Miss win just because I think it's the continuation of the Cinderella run. But I'm not mad at Miami. Maybe Husker fans from the 80s and 90s would be, but I think there's a general template for hey, Nebraska, guess what? You don't have to be stuck in this mediocrity if you make enough right decisions. You can get back. You're not like Miami's the one seed dominating everyone. Like you said, Bach, they lost to Louisville and SMU. Good teams, not elite teams, but that's also just where we're at in the playoff era. Is that it's starting to feel more like the NFL, where you're going to lose some games. You're going to have an off week or two, be good enough to get into the playoff, whatever the qualifications are, and then you got a chance. That's all you can ask for.
As long as you can make the ACC champ. Okay, I guess you don't have to make the ACC champ. We'll take a quick break. We got one more segment on one-on-one coming next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker Nation, conference play is here for Husker women's hoops, and we need your help. The Huskers had one of their best starts ever, completing non-conference play with a perfect 12-0 record. But Big Ten play will be a challenge, and they need to hear Husker Nation in the stands for every basket, steal, and each and every win. The road to March starts now, so don't wait. Head to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat for some unforgettable matchups in PBA. Go Big Red.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating it
and electrical.
It's the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th at the Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. Come see trophy deer, hunting seminars, hunting and outdoor exhibitors, a 3D archery tournament, enter the blind giveaway, and more. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate, January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Learn more at nebraskadeerandgameexpo.com and find them on Facebook. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 16th through the 18th in Lincoln.
January is your reset button. This January 10th, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping in Lincoln is kicking off our 10-week challenge. We combine high-energy kickboxing, powerful strength training, and simple, proven nutrition to deliver real results in just 10 weeks. For a limited time, get $150 off when you enroll today. No gimmicks, just coaching, accountability, and a community that pushes you to win. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Visit fxblincoln.com and start your strongest year yet at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. 2 locations, South 40th and Yankee Hill, North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, changing lives 10 weeks at a time.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky. I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the number one fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at coppellcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild has a delicious way for you to enjoy beef brisket. It's our open-faced hot beef sandwich. We start with our grilled Texas toast. Add a scoop of creamy mashed potatoes. Load them up with some tender Hog Wild beef brisket and top it off with our tasty brown gravy. It's absolutely delicious. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Back to one-on-one with DP